Okay, the burning bushes are burning. That must mean it's fall. So we are going to take hard shell and we're going to set her up for the winter, doing a winterization. There's a lot of videos out there that show how to do this. I'm going to try to do a step-by-step and try to keep it simple. This is specific to the 19FD GeoPro by Forest River, but these components are usually throughout the Forest River line, and most GeoPros will be almost exactly the same. The only difference is some of the locations will be different where the components are actually located. So you can follow along with this. What I'm using is a checklist, and I got this off the GeoPro Facebook page. So it's a good thing. It's a step-by-step how to do this, and I'm going to follow this step-by-step. So I'm going to show you a list of what the tools that you need now, and then I will explain a little bit about those tools. Now I'm going to be doing this on a 2020 model year 19FD, and on this particular model you actually do have the connection for the antifreeze hose back here in the back. Now some of the older models you had to actually go, and we'll show you in a minute on the dinette, where you hook into the pump and you pull in your antifreeze through that. But this has the system here, so this is what we're going to do on this one. Looking at some of our tools, just start off, it's real important to have a 1 1/16 socket. And that'll come in handy in two different places I'll show you, and a 9/8 opened in, boxed in, and that'll be for our lower water drains. And then your hose, mine's going to be a little short. It's preferably to have a male fitting on the one end, and it needs to be probably about 3 foot long. Now I just bought some old cheap hose and cut it. I made mine a little short, so I'm going to end up putting a little table here and put my antifreeze up on there. That way it'll be close to the inlet. Now coming over to our tanks for drainage, our freshwater tank is right up in here, and I was lucky I got a sliding gate on mine, and like some of the older ones had a little, you'll see that little connection there, they had a little nut that you took off right up in here instead of the sliding gate. So I've already drained that one, but we're going to end up draining that one again when we flush the system, because it'll put a little bit more in there. So that one's drained, and my black water has been drained and cleaned, so it's fine. I'm not going to mess with that. My gray water is going to get a little water in it when we flush out, so right now it is dry, but I'm going to put a bucket under here and drain it whenever we get done flushing the rest of the water through the lines. Now the next thing on this list is you want to, according to the step-by-step, you want to turn on your water pump and open all your faucets, hot and cold. I'm going to do those individually, one at a time, because I don't want to run that pump for too long. So we're going to go through and we're going to do the cold side first on everything. So here we go. Okay, we're going to turn on the water pump. And it completely stopped. That means it has plenty of pressure on the lines. So we're going over here to the cold. And I don't remember which one's cold. I think it's the right side. So we're going to let that one run. I'm going to go in here and do the one in the bathroom. So there's the cold side on the bathrooms. And I'm going to go ahead and get the cold side on the shower. Last of all, I've gone around and turned on all the hot lines, and it turns out that your bath or your shower here is your kind of the lowest point, so it seems to be the last one to drain out. So it's finishing up right now. I've let each one of these run for about 2 or 3 minutes for the cold and 1 or 2 or 3 minutes for the hot. Okay, I drained all those drains. Like I say, you want to be careful because you don't want to overwork that pump. That pump will burn up if you let it keep on going dry. So you want to just get the most that you can out of that. And at the end, it's going to fill up your... You want to go ahead and hit this again one more time I'm gonna get a little bit more out of that valve there. And then I'm gonna end up taking some more out of our gray tank now. I'm gonna get a bucket and I'll get the gray water out of there. Now, like I say, I'd already drained my gray water, but this is the water that I got just now got by running the faucets. Not a lot, but I want to get that out of there. A little more than I thought it would be, but that's also probably a little bit left over that was in my gray water tank, but you want to make sure that was completely drained. Alright. Now, according to our step-by-step, you want to go and locate your low point drains. Like I say, on the FD, it's back here in the back corner, but it can be in different places. But you want to find those low point drains, and they're going to look kind of like that. Mine is kind of nice because it's got a 7/8 base. This is what I'm going to use this wrench for. And then a socket actually is the 1 1/16 socket on mine. So we'll set that up and drain those real quick. Okay, on this it's very important that you use some kind of wrench to hold the base. And then I'm going to put a socket on this part to loosen it up. If you don't hold this base, it will spin inside of this PEX piping and it'll cause this to leak. So you don't want this to spin, you only want this part to break loose. So we'll do that now. So you'll see we loosen those up. I'll go ahead and pull these off. I'll get a lot out of that one. It's your cold side. I'll get a little more out of this one. Yep, there it goes. I'll let that drain out. So that cold water, when it's still running, it's been running for probably about 4 or 5 minutes now, and it's still running. So I'm going to go on, move on over, show you the next step. The next step is the water heater. So on the water heater, you open up this thing here, and you put it in up and down position, and this pulls down. And what we're going to do now is we're going to remove this anoid, and you need that 1 1/16 socket to do that. And while we're draining that out, we're going to pull up on this lever here. Obviously you want to have this off, and you want to make sure that it's not hot. You don't want to do this right after you've used it, so you don't want hot scalding water coming out at you. So after almost 10 minutes, that cold water finally stopped draining. So what I'm doing now is putting my caps back on. I'm going to make sure they seal real good, because I'm going to re-seal these back up. So I'll use my socket wrench to tighten those up really nice and snug. That way it'll hold the antifreeze in there. So got those nice and tight. So those will be done for now. We'll move around to back to the water heater. Now it helps if you have this extension, and the socket came with it. It's a 1/2 inch drive, so I had to have a reducer to come down to my ratchet size. This is going to take a little bit of a push. That one wasn't too bad. It's loosened up now. Now this sometimes can come out really like a spray, so you know, be careful with it. Yeah, it's coming out pretty fast. There it comes. Now this is going to be a mess. This is the way this is. These here, until they become just thin wire, you can continue to reuse them. They look terrible, but that's just the way it works. And then you can help it out by pulling this lever. There's a little air on the other side, and it'll speed it up considerably. Okay, the water heater is completely drained now, so we want to go ahead and close this here. Okay, on the FD, the water filter is the next thing to do, and it's back here in the back. Some people's is actually inside. Now, we didn't put a filter in ours last year. We just chose not to do it because a lot of people have had trouble with these leaking. And what we're going to try to do, it's still got water in it. What we're going to try to do is when we put the antifreeze in there, we're going to try to back it up through this. There's a check valve in the back. I'll show you that, and that should fill this up with antifreeze, and we shouldn't have to worry about that. At some point I might have to go ahead and take it out if I can't get enough antifreeze in there, because right now it's solid water. We don't want that. But I don't want to take not having to take a filter out because I didn't put one in last year. So I'm not wanting to break that seal if I can possibly avoid it. Okay, our next step is coming inside to where the dinette on the FD is. Now this will be different on other campers, but for the FD, your water heater access is going to be underneath this panel under here. So I didn't mention a Phillips screwdriver, but you're also going to need that in your setup. So what you're going to have to do is remove that one screw right here, and this whole panel will lift up and have access to your water heater. And that's, like I say, in your dinette set, back up here where you can see it, in that back panel by the bathroom. That's right there. So after you remove that, this is what you have. This is your water heater here. What we don't have to do here is we're going to have to access some valves. So we're going to get into that here. We will get set up where you can see those a little bit better, and then I'll show you what valves we need to do on that. Okay, we're going to go ahead and change these valves. Set these valves up for what we're doing. And I'm not sure if you can see. Let's see. Do the angle on this. If you look underneath here, you'll see there's a valve, and it's turned toward, both of them, it's turned toward the actual water heater. So what you want that to do is you want it to turn, you don't want to force it, but you want to make it go. This is going toward the aft of the trailer. You want it to go to where it lines this way for the bypass. So there's that one. And there's the other one. Down at the bottom. Alright, the next thing you want to do, and that's if you have a, like I say, ours is a 2020, so it actually has a line here that actually goes to that place in the back where we're going to introduce the antifreeze. So actually this is the line right here, and right now it's going straight across. You want this to turn back this way. That way it's going to receive that fluid through this hose and not through your freshwater tank, which is this hose here. So that's pretty much all you have to do with those two settings. Okay, I'm all set up on the back here. I'll show you what I've done. Because my hose wasn't long enough, if it's long enough you can go all the way down to the floor or down to the ground, but I went ahead and put mine up higher. But I've got my hose threaded in here, got it in this bucket, that way I can keep track of keeping it full. You can put this line in the actual 1 gallon buckets, but the problem is you have to keep on pulling it out and it'll pull in air. So I'm going to try to keep it filled. I'm going to have someone out here monitoring the level on this to make sure it's full. While you're setting this up, you want to also go and take your little screen out of your freshwater connection here, because at some processors a check valve we're going to have to push and let water come out of here, and it's going to push antifreeze back out this way. That way we have some in that line as well, and that should clear out where our filter was, because I showed you I still had some water in that, so I'm hoping that pushes all that out. So we're going to get someone to monitor this. We're going to pour 2 gallons in here to start. I've already got set up for 4 gallons. I went ahead and took this foil off the top, that way I'm ready to go. This one's hopefully going to be our extra. We may not have to get into that 5th gallon, but we'll see how that goes. So at this point we've got 2 gallons poured into our bucket, and like I say, I'm going to have someone out here monitor this as it gets down low. I don't want it to suck air in that, so I will stop the process of flushing the sinks and things as I'm doing this, and we'll come back out and fill this as necessary. So we're going to go inside now and turn on the pump and start flushing each drain. Okay, we're going to come inside now and we're going to hit the pump. You can hear it running in here. It's going to run for a little bit, and hopefully it's sucking pink stuff in there. And it looks like it's just about up there. So we're going to start off with the cold side. Run it until you get some pink out of there. Okay, we got pink on there. Okay, next we're going to do the cold side in the bathroom. There's pink coming out of that. Now we're going to do the tub. Pink coming out of that. Now we're going to do the commode. Do that a couple times just in case we get some water still in there. I think we're pretty good on that. Now you want to make sure we do this outdoor shower, and it's got the hot and cold in different positions. Well, no, it's still on the right side for the cold. So we're going to go ahead and hit this here. Don't know if I can film this, but there it is. Okay, now you want to do your hot side. Okay, we're going to do our hot side in here in the bathroom. And we're going to do, I actually did the hot side first on this one, so we're going to do this side. Okay, what we want to do with this on is we want to go ahead and do our shower head real quick. So we're going to turn this hot. We'll use the cold. Now what we're going to do is we're going to turn on this cold, and we're going to do our actual water miser. So that way it flushes through that line and then back into the freshwater tank. This is an extra step that's not on the instructions. So there it goes. Alright. Okay, I was surprised that as I was doing this, it was actually turning my water filter container there pink, which is good because we're going to do the last step is we're going to actually run this check valve, and we're going to blow water through this city water connection, and this is going to spray out at you. So you want to do this until you get pink out of that. So what you're doing is you're pressing this little button right inside of here. It's really hard to see, but it's actually a check valve, and when you do, it sprays out at you. So you want to have a bucket, I put this bucket up here like this and try to keep it as best under control as I could. That's what I got. I'm feeling pretty good about enough pink through that, so I'm feeling pretty good that line's purged out. Okay, this little extra thing I'm going to do, I'm going to pour just a little bit in my freshwater tank. That'll protect that valve that's at the very bottom. So I didn't show it because I had to use the funnel and I couldn't have both my hands free to use the funnel, but I put about 2 or 3 ounces, maybe, I don't know, probably a pint of fluid in through that fresh water. So after getting everything bundled up, kind of put things back together, like I say, I'm going to take and rinse around the area where I did this. Got all the traps, and what I probably will do, this is personal preference, is go ahead and hit the battery disconnect for the winter. I probably won't do that for another couple of weeks because we may be in and out here doing a little cleaning before the real winter sets in. So once that's done, then we're going to do that disconnect. Your solar will keep your battery trickle charged throughout the winter, so I'm going to leave the batteries where they're at. Again, that's a personal preference. Some people like to pull them out and put trickle chargers on, but I feel with the solar panel, you do pretty good with that. So, like I say, well, that's what we'll set ours up. And the nice thing about that disconnect switch is it doesn't disconnect that charging capability. So that's about all I have. We will do a few more videos on some of the stuff we're going to do through the winter. As far as making things better, we have several projects we're going to work on, and that's about all we've got. And I hope you all can get your all stuff buttoned up, and let's head into 2021 and hope it's a good year. Leave anything that you might have or questions in the comments, and we'll talk to you again another time.